everybody, my name is MetalMusicMan.
And I'm Professor Lex.
And this is episode 65 of the Metal and Lex podcast.
Welcome. Was that one of the little the fireworks that does the
No, that would have been like
gig in the air?
That's that one.
Okay.
Yeah. You
I'm sorry,
you gotta get the warble because it flootle toodles around in a circle, you know?
I like the ones that are like.
Yeah, those are good too. Can we do an entire hour where we just describe fireworks sounds to people?
Of fireworks. For the visually impaired.
You ever play with those hot poop snakes? You put them on the ground and they just go.
No. What? Hot poop snakes? What the fuck are you talking about?
Where
did you grow up?
You never had
hot poop snake.
You never had the hot poop snake fireworks? They made them like illegal because they're somehow environmentally awful. It's like a little.
Right.
It's like a little pellet. It's like a little pellet. Uh-huh. Okay, and it's literally like the size of it's like maybe the diameter of a penny, but it's like the fatness of maybe 10 pennies or maybe 5 pennies, maybe 5 pennies stacked on top of each other. Okay,
I haven't used cash in a while.
It's just a black pellet, and it has like a light fuse on the top of it. Okay, and you light it, and it's just this tiny little thing, and then it starts like it becomes a snake. It grows out like a snake grows out of it. And it like curls and it looks kind of like a piece of poop, but also kind of like a snake. And it's like, it's insane like how much bigger it gets than like the little penny was. It gets like, it's like fucking, I don't know. They can get to be like a foot or 2 long and they just keep like,
wow.
It just becomes snakes. You know, like magicians, like they reach into a hat and they just keep pulling out more. It's like that, but it's a firework. And I don't know what it's made out of. But anyway, I think you didn't have those as a kid? Are you serious? Sky? No, it's just on the ground and it becomes a poop snake.
Yeah, the little pop rocks is the wrong word, but you know what I'm talking about. The little, it's like gunpowder
snappers
wrapped in paper.
Yeah, snappers.
And you throw it at the ground and it goes.
Or you could snap them in your hands and they'd pop. If you're really cool.
That sounds like it would be painful.
No, there's so little. So little gunpowder, it doesn't even do anything.
Nah, gunpowder's scary, man. I grew up terrified of anything vaguely explosive. Yeah. We had to go out to my aunt's in order to see or do fireworks.
Aunt Debbie?
Because you can't. No. This is the white side of my family.
Mm-hmm.
So Aunt Cindy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they of course lived in the wilderness like all white people do, where you could shoot fireworks.
I would hesitate to say wilderness, but also I can't remember where they lived because I haven't been there in like 30 years.
Oh damn! Aren't you 30 years old?
Yeah, that was an exaggeration. I was being hyperbolic for the sake of comedy.
I was born in my aunt's wilderness fireworks home. The last time I was there, I remember being born. You would like be the dude that's like, I remember everything about my birth. Like you, like I could see you having like a whole like, oh no, man, I just remember like
based on personality.
I remember spreading the flaps of my mom's labia and fucking.
I don't remember that.
Emerging from the birth canal.
I was gonna
tell
you a story about remembering something from being too young. But that's
no. We're gonna do our first video podcast when we finally do it. It's gonna be like a live real-time camera view of a baby being born, and then when the baby's head like it just crests. When it crests, at the moment it crests beyond the birth canal and just the tip of the head, its face first comes out of the vagina. It's going to zoom in and it's going to put on a pair of glasses and it's going to be like, I'm Professor Lex. And this is episode.
No. I thought it was going to be, hey, everybody, this is Man.
Yeah, no, it's you. It's not me. Like I'll be
me.
Yeah, no, I'll be like holding the camera and I'll say that. And then like, it'll time it. This is perfect. I'm an artist, Alex. I'm an artist, and this is art. This is art.
High art. Yeah.
High art. Indeed.
The highest of high arts. Oh, Christ, Will.
Anyway, I can't believe you didn't have poop snakes. I'm still not over that.
Never had. Is that the technical medical definition? Poop snake?
I don't know.
Talk
to us in the comments about fireworks. Here.
Comment and
fireworks
subscribe.
Snakes.
Poop snake.
Yeah. Look at this. You look at this. You don't have,
I can't.
You don't have, yeah, I'm gonna link you a thing. Here you go. Hang on. How do I Discord? How do you not click that link?
Odoop. Let's see.
Black Snake.
Black Snake Moan is the
Black
only
Snake
Black
Moan.
Snake
Here, this is better. There's a picture of a Google thing. It's a term that can refer to two similar types of fireworks: the pharaoh snake and the sugar snake. I don't know the difference between them, but it looks like they both do the same thing. They grow out of a whole thing. And there's
that sounds scary.
There's the
sodium
TNT
bicarbonate
there.
and sugar.
Yeah, I think they banned them.
Well, yeah.
Let's see.
Did it bring you joy? You personally will?
Yeah, I loved them, man. They were so cool.
I would ban it for less.
Maybe they're not banned. I look up our
Oh God, snakes. Did your mom tell you they were banned because she didn't want to get you any more poop snakes? Because you would just be like, wow, look at all those pennies turned into a snake that looks like shit. Like literally like shit. Not like
maybe. I thought they banned them. Wait, hang on. Here's the thing about Illinois. Wait, what? Oh no, there they are. Okay, you might be right. My mom might have lied to me. Mom, did you lie to me? Mom, when you get to this episode of the podcast,
comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me if you lied to me. I thought they banned them. I could be full of shit then. I don't know. Anyway, poop snakes, black snakes, pharaoh snakes, sugar
Black
snakes.
Snake Moan.
Yeah. Black Snake Moan. Man,
have you seen that movie?
What a sex-infused performance Christina Ricci gives in that. It's somebody somewhere wrote a script, and they were like, all right, hear me out.
I just want to see
it's Christina Ricci trying to fuck everything that moves, and the only thing that's immune to her wiles is Samuel L. Jackson
in a wife beater.
What a movie!
Him as contrast.
Oh man, I think I need to go watch that movie again and also jack off two totally unrelated statements.
Do you remember at the end she gets married to Justin Timberlake, who's in that movie?
No,
in a dramatic role?
What?
Yeah, sorry, spoilers.
I don't. I haven't seen that in ages, and I have no recollection of Justin Timberlake existing in that movie.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake is a dramatic actor.
I do actually think he's a pretty good actor. I mean, I don't.
He's not bad.
I think he's good in most roles.
He's no Lance Bass as Sephiroth, but he's pretty good.
Jesus fucking Christ! Oh man, were they in the same band or were they in the different bands? I forget which.
This is NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. I am reigniting.
Backstreet was Lance Bass. Right?
Yes,
Justin Timberlake was in
sync?
Right?
Was in sync,
right.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
I'm very proud of myself for that.
I'm trying to parse the fact that I have apparently lost all memory of Justin Timberlake being in that movie. I only remember like Samuel L. Jackson's like he has such screen presence that like I remember him in addition to Christina Ricci doing like softcore porn for an hour and a half. But Justin Timberlake apparently not as much.
He does so much acting in that movie with exclusively the whites of his eyes. Like you can get a lot of character in like where your irises move, like darten your eyes back and forth, or like you do some eyebrow work or some eyelids or whatever. But he just acts with the whites of his eyes.
I mean, I feel like he is a good actor. Fully. Yeah, I feel like he actually is a good actor. Yeah,
I'm not making fun of him.
Don't you tarnish Justin Timberlake's freaking reputation.
I'm talking about Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, there you go. No, Samuel L. Jackson, of course, is a great actor. My God, that guy is fucking... Yeah, okay. I thought you were saying Justin Timberlake did all that acting. Excuse me.
No.
Okay.
He's fine. I don't have anything against JT's acting presence. No, when you're jacking off later, look at the
pictures of Samuel L. Jackson.
Look at there's so much of Samuel L. Jackson in that movie. It's going to be hard if you're just, you know.
Oh man, sorry. I'm dead. I'm just thinking about that movie now, and then the fact that it exists. I completely I had not thought of it in years.
It's good.
Is it actually a good movie?
Good. Yeah.
I just didn't notice.
I'm sure it's got like a regressive sex message.
Yeah, she's sex possessed by a demon or some shit.
No.
She's
just got nymphomania, the normal. She's
normal
got a
nymphomania?
Sex addiction. Yeah, I'm probably conflating terms. Again, I'm not a doctor.
It probably is. It probably is bad. Then it probably is all sex negative bad.
Sex negative. He chains her to a radiator so she stops fucking children. Not like. Watch Black Snake Moan if you haven't seen Black Snake Moan.
I don't remember the children fucking. I don't remember that. I remember the radiator and the chain.
there's this. He's not a
why
child.
Why is this just an entire podcast about the movie Black Snake Moan?
Snake Moan.
How did this happen?
Okay, so Samuel L. Jackson has like I'm gonna say kid again, and keep in mind that's because I'm 30, and this child is like 18.
So not a child. Like, demonstrably, not a child. Definitively, legally, not a child.
Rape.
Okay, well,
she did not rape that child, but she was like, "Hey, younger, technically legally adult male, would you like to have sex?" And he's like, "Uh-oh," and then they bang, and then she marries JT. And then Samuel Jackson is like, "I'm glad I changed you to that radiator. Here's the key to your freedom." And then he gives her the key, and she unlocks herself from the radiator. She's like, "Thank you," but not in a sexy way, just a normal gratitude thing.
So wait, is it framed as Samuel L. Jackson being like helpful by chaining her to the radiator, and it's a good thing, right?
Yes.
But it's not a demon. Therefore, now I have lots of conflicting thoughts about it, because I seem to remember it being like a weird sex demon or something, and that made more sense to me. But she just wanted to have sex with people, and he changed her to a radiator for it.
Yeah, he changed her to a radiator because she was coming on to him, and he was like, "I don't know
this movie. I think I was just horny and young the first time I watched this movie. I feel like a lot of the plot elements are apparently lost to the ages.
You don't remember her being chained to a radiator?
No, I do remember that, but I seem to remember being like, "Oh, this is okay because she's like possessed by a sex demon or something."
No,
and like you're
sex
telling
demon is just like her wanting to have sex. It's your sex demon, Will.
Well,
you also are not possessed by a literal sex demon.
There's no
incubus, succubus, whatever.
I've just experienced trauma and deal with it by hypersexualizing everything, which is way less depressing.
Like God intended. Do you think that's less depressing than a demon that just makes you horny?
Oh yeah, anything real is. I mean, that's why you have like, you know, all the Bible stories or vampires or demons or all that shit is it's just metaphors for things that are way more depressing. Like it's way more depressing to think that maybe you experienced trauma as a child than it is to just think that you're possessed by a sex demon. That's way less depressing.
Wait, hold on. You've overwritten, I believe, a large swath of this movie with your you have with your revisionist tendencies. You have gone back and been like, "Oh yeah, it was a sex demon."
Maybe I don't know.
Way this plot makes sense.
I'm pretty sure I was just really horny and jacking off and only missed like and missed like 90% of the plot. I'm pretty sure
Did you turn the volume off?
No, but like I am certain I intended to watch that as an actual movie, and then at whatever point I watched it, my dick was just like, "Hey man, no, this is just porn now." I did not get Christina Ricci's consent, and I'm sorry about that.
Important things to look out for when you're jerking off later.
Fucking hell, dude.
Samuel L. Jackson sclera, the radiator to which she is chained, the legal status of the dude that she jumps. All three things. That's the holy trinity of Black Snake Moan. Oh, and Justin Timberlake, the other part of the holy trinity.
Sure. He's the there's a joke there about the holy trinity. Isn't there a fourth? But nobody talks about it. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, but isn't there like heaven? I thought there was some. Anyway.
I don't know that joke.
Words.
I'm not Catholic. Yeah.
Catholicism. Anyway, we're here today to talk to you about mental health.
Yeah, okay. Let's put this up at the top end of this whole thing. If you suspect that you or someone you know is at risk of harming themselves or someone else, it does merit seeking medical intervention. I'm not going to say call the police. Sometimes you should call the police. They tend to treat everything as a nail and they're the hammer, but if you live in the
calling the police on someone having a mental breakdown is probably not a good idea most of the time.
Yeah.
I would sadly not recommend that.
No, specifically don't.
Yeah.
There's if you live in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area, we have the Behavioral Health Services of St. Louis, BHRSTL.org, pardon me. You can call them at 314-469-6644. That is a good resource if you're in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area to call if someone is suffering a mental health crisis. My computer in the background just went to sleep, so I'm going to be flying by the seat of my pants from here on. If you go to don'tcallthepolice.com, you can search for your city or cities nearby you that are large.
Oh, I don't. And then don'tcallthepolice.com. That's a cool website.
Don'tcallthepolice.com, and it's not just mental health.
Heard of that website.
Yeah, they've also got resources to help people who are LGBTQ to find emergency housing, like in the wake of a pandemic that's leaving millions of people homeless. Domestic violence and sexual assault, which can, for any number of reasons, there are resources there that you could use that are much more effective than calling.
Look at you,
police.
Alex.
Yeah. There's youth counseling and services. There's crime, even legal services of Eastern Missouri, if you're in St. Louis, or substance abuse, elders who are being abused. There's all sorts of people that you can call that aren't the police. And also occasionally you might call the police if someone is at risk of hurting someone or themselves. Occasionally. I wouldn't go to them first. They're like last. You know the number. I'm not going to say
like it. After you chain someone to a radiator, then you can consider if you need to.
Okay. So we're giving this all at the top of the hour, air quotes, top of the hour, because we're about to talk about the whole Hacks versus Leffen manifesto. And there's a fair chance that we're going to, do some ribbing here and crack a couple of jokes, perhaps. But it's important to note that he's probably having some sort of a mental health crisis.
There's no way this dude is not. There's no way this dude is not having a fucking breakdown. There's no way. Yeah. So okay, quick synopsis of the situation. So Hacks Money is a Melee player. Leffen is a Melee player. Leffen is one of the, well, I guess the 6 gods. He's the god slayer. There's always been the 5 gods of Melee. Leffen is like the dude who showed up and started shitting on them. He's like now god status, as it were. Hacks would be, if you're following the analogy, like a demigod. He's very, very good and has beaten some of them, but not all of them. And you would never bet on him to win a tournament if they were all in attendance.
Certainly not anymore.
Certainly not anymore. So Hacks had taken like X number of breaks. He had like issues with his hands and things, and hadn't played for a while.
Bad hand syndrome.
But so he's known for popularizing the Captain Falcon meta early on, being one of the best Falcon players in the world, and then switching to Fox and making everybody very sad. And I also think he's responsible for the 20XX memes, if memory serves, like back in the day. I think
is he?
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
That's funny.
I think he had a big hand in that. I think that was a big reason why it started, was because he switched to Fox and blah blah blah. So anyway. This dude has been like a member of the Melee scene, the tournament scene, for a while, and importantly to this particular recent development, back in the day, like maybe a 2015, 2016, if memory serves. I could be wrong on the timing, but it's a couple years back. He had like some beef with Leffen, and it's far enough back that it was like before Leffen became
it was god tier. Yeah.
No,
not before he was a god.
I don't actually know, and that's not my point. Is that's not what I'm saying. It was before Leffen had become a more reformed individual. We'll say so. Leffen, way back, even before this current back in time, super back in time, he had been banned from like the Swedish Smash scene because he was such like a fucking toxic piece of shit. They banned him for a year, and so Leffen has always had issues with being like kind of a bully, kind of toxic, shitty internet person, whatever. And it's kind of waxed and waned with regard to how much it is just him kind of like playing the role and it being fun versus kind of going overboard and it being too much. You could liken him, if you're familiar with the normal FGC, more to like a Filipino champ or something, like he's had moments where people kind of, he's more tolerable and more likable, and he is just kind of a heel and it's fine. And then he's had moments where it's just like, whoa, that's fucking over the top. That's not cool. And so there was, to lead into this, a point where they had some beef, and I think it's pretty well accepted that Leffen, like, more or less bullied Hacks at that time. And I'm gonna assume this was 5 or 6 years ago. And so kind of before people were 13. More up on some of the things that are, with, I guess, how to be FGC and cool without being uncool in terms of like how you treat people, yada yada. So Leffen has always had issues with this, and kind of the thing that sort of sparked all of this before whatever point, well, supposedly before whatever point it got out of control, people are speculating that it's like Hacks has kind of like been stuck in this position where Leffen like did actually legitimately bully him and was a thing, and maybe just never got over it. And meanwhile, Leffen is now, I'm not going to say completely reformed, but he is the biggest Smash influencer probably currently, especially Melee. He's probably bigger than Mango, or at least they're pretty close. But Leffen is also generally, I mean, I'm not going to say he's improved, you never know, but like Leffen kind of came out of, if you remember, we had the episode titled The Longest Week, where there was all the crazy, the crazy shit coming to light with like, Zero and like all these different high profile people, either just being generally shitty people with regard to how they treat others and maybe borderline sexually abuse them or whatever the fuck. All the way up to like fucking Senpai basically actually statutory raping people at tournaments and like all this crazy shit. Leffen was kind of like at the forefront of that, being like, whoa, this isn't cool, which is an interesting place for Leffen because he's a douche, but is not a fucking abuser of.
He's not an abuser.
He's not,
you could make an argument for cyberbully, but
I think definitively he was a cyberbully. Whether he still is or not is a little bit harder to pin down because he certainly does still play that heel role and but also Leffen did a pretty good job kind of calling some of that to light. I think he used his platform for good. And so what I'm getting to this is so Hacks recently released this I'm going to say insane manifesto. It's like 120 pages PDF. Accompanied with a 2.5 hour video. And I have not watched the whole video, but I've seen like some clips from it, and I've watched like the there's like screenshots where he's got like all these points where he's like, Leffen is literally Hitler. And Leffen, one time in 2015, Hacks wore red Adidas pants. And I beat him at Genesis 7. A year later, Leffen wore an orange-red Adidas shirt, and therefore Leffen is abusing me and has a plan to take over the tournament and make fun of me or take over the tournament scene and like all it. It's crazy. Like it is textbook. Just it
looks like a mental break.
Yeah, textbook like what's the word I'm looking for? Like paranoid, delusional, obsessive shit. And so it's just like he's been compiling for the last 5 years or whatever. He's just been compiling shit that like super conspiracy shit. Like Leffen said this once, therefore Leffen is part of the Hitler Nazi Illuminati that runs the Smash scene and controls it. And so the only thing I will say, this is the point. I've been doing a bad job of this, but I want to get this all out of the way before we get into it because I don't want anyone to hear what we're saying and then think we're making any of these points. There is this whole discourse. Most of the discourse I've seen has been good, and it's like, man, Hacks really needs some fucking help. This is clearly not healthy. But there is this smaller yet not irrelevant chunk of the discourse about it that is people on the internet saying, quote, like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but Hacks has made some good points. No. the only no. If you read into this later, just don't even go down that rabbit hole. No.
Please.
The only good point he has made, I will give like the tiniest amount of credence to that ridiculousness. The only good point he has made is that Leffen has a platform.
Yes.
And doesn't
some 300,000 Twitter followers.
And doesn't necessarily always use it in the best way, like any influencer. And so, yes, sometimes if Leffen says a thing, you do get mobbed by his community, his followers. And that's a real thing, but that's not any different than anything that happens with any influencer, and anyway, we should check that. And if you're looking at anything that Hacks has presented and being like, man, maybe Leffen...
That's a little reasonable.
Nope. Just stop right there. Like, yeah, he's got a platform. He doesn't necessarily always use it responsibly, and that's it. That's it. And that is the only point or whatever. There is no, but there are a lot of people who are like, man, no, look at all these things he's bringing up. And it's just like,
there's a lot of opinions.
People are feeding into this, and I don't know. So it's scary because I think this dude, there's no way you can, I mean, I can get down for some shit that's like, fuck the, the hive mind, like the inner circle. I can get down with a margin of that, like paranoid Illuminati bullshit, like just a smidge of like, because at the end of the day, where that stems from is like, hey, there's a group of people, and these group of people do have like the power. It's never as like organized as people try to say that it is, but it's like cliques, right? And so like anything, you know, when you're going, you know, into Smash, you've got certain people run the tournaments, know the streamers, know the top players. So there is like a clicky element of that. And you wouldn't be insane to think that there's some degree like with this, but like it's not like some crazy, like they're not like Leffen is not like some crazy puppet master running, like it's literally just clicks and popularity, and that's it. And influence.
Chapter 1, to compare and contrast Will's admittedly somewhat conspiratorial theory about the Inner Smash clique with what Hax is saying. Chapter 1 is titled Totalitarianism.
Yeah, I think the first sentence is like Leffen is Hitler, or he quotes Hitler, and then like
in the first 4 minutes he quotes Hitler and is talking about, he says, unfortunately it's a Hitler quote, but when you think about it, Leffen's up to no good. Let me support my argument with a Hitler quote. It's not a thought that people who are in the right frame of mind usually have. So I don't know how far you made it into evidence.zip 2. Which is the name.
I only watched clips and screenshots. I was like, I am not gonna actually watch this. Like, this is.
Dude, I know that it's wrong and potentially exploitative of someone who's suffering a mental health crisis. But I watched maybe like 20 minutes of it, and I actually fell asleep to it. So I don't want to think about what that means. But I was watching it last night so that we could talk about it, and I could tell you all the neat, fun things. And it's none of that is fun.
It's just creepy, right? Like, it's just weird and depressing.
Let me say, it was incredibly well edited. Hax is narrating the whole thing, and he is making complete, coherent sentences. He is having a causal. He sees a stimulus, and then he is relating it to an outcome that is impossible. And all of these thoughts are like logically if-then statements that just don't make any sense. It's not that he's babbling for 2.5 hours. It's that he's making clear connections to things that aren't real.
I think that's happened. The more disturbing part, right? Is like he's clearly got enough faculties to like it's basically like he's going on for an hour about how like the color blue definitely scientifically gives you like the power of mind control, basically. And it's like making like you said, like a coherent sentence, but like A doesn't actually connect to B. So like the words you're hearing make sense. Point, but then God, that's so fucking.
He's talking about Twitter mob mentality, which is
a real thing.
I think. Yeah, well, and I think that's probably the worst part of this whole video is that the thing that he is starting with, the starting leaping off point. You're
like, exactly. Maybe that does. And then he just goes boing into like a fucking... Yep.
He said, suppose for the sake of argument that there's 5 Leffen supporters and then 5 Leffen detractors. If Leffen, using his platform of 300,000 followers, blocks 2 of those detractors, then the other 3 will feel isolated and that no one is talking to them, which is a form of crowd control. He goes so far as to dub the process pest control, and then says that Leffen is an originator of the technique pest control to separate and isolate and thus negate and eliminate all of his detractors, which is fucking insane.
That is why it is rooted in a thing, like, right? It's like the first half of it, you're like, it can be fucked up if you have a platform and you like block people or abuse people, and there is like certainly an element of like just social dynamics where like if I'm popular in a scene and I just decide to say someone, like, that is a real thing, and then he's like, Leffen is a mastermind of pest control and like blah blah, like
he literally like the next statement he makes is that that is a form of controlling the press, of controlling the media, which is exactly what Hitler did before he rose to power. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Are you saying, man? You block people on Twitter who are mean to you. That's how you preserve your mental health.
Yep.
I don't want to make fun of Hax, which sucks because like empirically, the existence of an evidence.zip 2 is kind of funny. But the way that it came about, the fact that he's so serious and that he sees all of these connections.
Can we just say too that I hate that it's evidence.zip 2? What's wrong with you?
You want evidence.zip?
Yeah, you don't change the file type. What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, I think it's here. Let me. Yeah, it's evidence.zip space 2. Yeah,
evidence2.zip. What the hell's wrong with you? Get out of here. Anyway,
I am loath to make fun of him, but that is frustrating because like I think a lot of people who watched this maybe spent the better part of 10 minutes to an hour wondering if this was parody. Like everyone was.
Oh, that was my first inclination when I saw there was like a big Reddit thread and there were screenshots of it. I was like, oh man, he is definitely memeing. Like I'm just like sitting on the toilet taking a shit, like looking at the subreddit, whatever. And within 30 seconds, just glossing over, moving around, I'm like, oh, this is some meme shit. And then like you see more things crop up and like people's responses in the comments, and you're like, oh wait, what? Like this is a real. And so then my first thought is like, oh, maybe Leffen is an asshole because Leffen is an asshole. And Hacks, as far as I've been aware, has been like a pretty normal person in the community or whatever. And so then I'm like, oh man, what did Leffen do now? And then I read like Leffen made a tweet that was like, I'm worried for my safety. This is weird. I'm not going to say anything until I talk to a lawyer. And I'm like, oh man, that seems rational and calm and also terrifying. And then like I start looking at the screenshots and shit, and I'm like, oh my God. And like, so this is the other thing, like while we're on like the mental health part of it, I hesitate to react too swiftly because you do have to worry about like Twitter. I do, again, this is like the part, like Twitter hive mind, Twitter hive think is a real thing. You do have to kind of like worry about like overreacting to certain things because people get called out. I mean, it's like, look at fucking like Coney 2012 or any of these other stupid, like you get like, it is possible that you get, it is possible that you get a group of people that don't have enough information and they move too quickly on a thing and they do more harm than good and yada, yada. But all of that being said, I feel like at this point I have to agree with the people who are like, Hacks needs to immediately be banned from any and all events. Because whatever you think about Leffen, like whatever you think about
I don't like him.
Yeah,
I think he's mean.
Whatever you think about him, like it is very not like this is stalker shit. This is some stalker level shit. You don't know what's going to happen. And who knows what this is slippery slope argument to a T, but who knows what else he might do, Hacks? Like, I mean, if he's doing something like this.
He's shown enough dedication to make a 2.5 hour video where he calmly narrates and has clearly put in more production value than I have put into anything on my YouTube channel. He has shown a degree of dedication. He has shown years and years of, we'll call research.
That's the really scary thing. It's like how long, like this has actually been going on for at least probably 5 years. That's like the scary thing. That's the fucking scary thing.
And then on top of that he would simultaneously, in time with the video, release a 150-page PDF so that it would be easier to follow, so that you could follow along with all of the points that he's making. That shows a degree of dedication and of
obsession.
Of obsession to a cause, and he truly believes, setting everything else aside, it is apparent from the product that he has delivered that he truly believes that Leffen is, quote, bringing Smash to some sort of totalitarian regime, that he truly thinks that Leffen is Hitler.
Have you seen his follow-up tweets?
I've seen a couple of them.
So he's got like, last time he tweeted before this was like May 25th, which is about Fox shit. So then he says, he starts when he released it. He's like, every person who values the well-being of the Smash community should take the time to review the video and PDF I just posted. That's like the initial thing, right?
Yeah.
And then he tagged Samox, who's the Melee documentary maker, who this weekend was I guess streaming some revised edits and additional content to the documentary, and he's like, I need you to review this before you knowingly broadcast propaganda. The future of Smash is on the line. And so then this all comes out. Everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? And
those are serious accusations, yeah.
And he's responding basically to everybody like messaging him being like, hey, you're not
Are you okay?
Well, like please.
Yeah.
And so he says, I'm doing fine. For anyone wondering, I'm keeping a close eye on if/how the press revises history. More truths will come out and the press will be fully exposed if this happens. So that's weird because he's like, it's the press is, I don't even know who he thinks the press is. And then he says in a follow-up to that, he's like, while my actions may be controversial, they are also necessary. I know for a fact that this scene is deteriorating, and I'll eventually prove that to all of you. And that's the last tweet he made. So it's like, it's rooted in like all weird conspiracy theory, like conspiratorial behavior, all that. It's rooted in like a nugget of something that could be a real thing, right? Like he believes the Smash scene is deteriorating because he thinks there's a toxic influencer at the heart of it.
A cabal, yeah.
Well, not a cabal. So
yeah,
thinking
specifically Leffen.
So okay, hang on. So thinking that there is an influencer who you perceive to be a toxic force at the heart of your community, and thinking that is damaging your community is a rational and okay thought. Think about like Jake Paul ruining YouTube, yada, yada.
Sure.
It is okay to think that you do not like the actions of a person who has become a figurehead in a community, and that you do not like the direction that they are. I don't want to use the word leading because that does go into the conspiracy, but the direction that they are influencing, because they're influencers, the community in. That is an okay and coherent thought to have. Thinking that it is all a planned coup of some...
Because who are you even cooing?
That is where it just goes off the deep end. So like, and that's what's so like weird about it is because, and I think that's why it's so enticing for people to think like, oh, he's making some good points, because it's like, it's rooted in something that might not be that weird. And I think a lot of people miss the jumping off point. I think that's what is so enticing about conspiracy theory shit in general is like, it's very easy for some people to hear thing A and thing A, you're basically straw manning, right? You're like, or not straw manning. What's that argument? That's a logical fallacy. What's that where you use something that's true and then you try to connect it to something that makes no sense? I can't think of it.
Oh, where your
logical fallacy is.com. Which one is that?
It's where you're using rather than using evidence to justify conclusion, you're starting with the conclusion and then working back and seeing what evidence supports it.
Yeah, is that false cause? You presume that a real perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other?
That's one of them, that's cause and effect.
Not appeal to emotion. Not appeal to fallacy.
An appeal to emotion. It was a certain kind of distressing to hear the way that he referred to the Smash documentary as propaganda. He talked about a lot of political power, and like that's not what having Twitter followers is. That's not political power. Leffen isn't running for office. There is no president of Smash. Did you fallacy? I was buying time.
No, I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, I don't want to waste time on it. It's definitely, I'm sure someone in the listener realm knows it. I know there is like, that is one of them. There's one that's like specifically that, but I can't think of which one it is. So anyway,
sure.
Wieners, logical fallacies. I'll look them up later. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of sad. I hope something, good comes out of this for Hacks in terms of him getting some help for it. But like, I don't know. It's been weird. I will say, as much as there have been pockets of people doing like, the bad feeding into this, I'm actually surprised at how many people are kind of looking at this in a less memey way. I think if this had happened a couple years ago before like certain events had occurred, it would be very enticing for people to be like, ha ha ha, and like super duper meme on it. And it's not to say that no one is doing that, but like, I think by and large, I've seen people having a reaction of like, yeah, let's like try and keep some distance and, hope. So that's good. But anyway, I don't know. It was pretty hard not to talk about that. That's been like the thing this week that's been happening.
It's kind of big news. Yeah. I mean, it was like trending on Twitter, people who didn't know anything about Smash. I woke up, the dogs woke me up at 5:45 the other morning, and Jen like rolled over and she was like, hey, what's going on? Why are you still up? And I was like, evidence.zip just dropped, and she was like, okay, I'm getting on Twitter. So like people who are unrelated to the Smash scene are getting involved and have seen this, and that's kind of a scary thing to think that that's what we project. Yeah, wouldn't you rather that everyone would be talking about like Evo Moment 37 than
though, dude? It's always the awful shit. You know, people fucking love their drama.
And I don't fault people for that, but like, man, that's not how I want to be represented. Man, I don't want people to see that is the best because it's the juiciest of what we have to offer.
It is, though. It is the juiciest that we have to offer. It's not the best, but it's the juiciest. It always
and sadly, all of this is at the expense of hacks and to a lesser extent, Leffen, or maybe the same extent. I don't know. How do you map extent? Like, this is fucked up. I wish this hadn't happened. I wish that Hacks was in a place where he didn't feel like he needed to make this.
To quote a famous philosopher, drama makes the world go round. Does anybody got a problem with that? My business is my business. Who's guilty? Can I get a witness?
Hell yeah.
First things first, the chocolate starfish is my man Fred Durst. Anyway, that's a Limp Bizkit quote.
Oh no. I thought you were gonna say something like "Don't start no shit, it won't be no shit."
No, that yeah, you know. Anyway,
yeah. Thank you. Shout out to Limp Bizkit if you wanna be interviewed for the Metal and Lex podcast. Like,
modern philosopher Fred Durst said it best when.
Man. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know, man. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of dead now. I don't know where to go with that. This is as depressing as the fucking
as any of them have been.
Sometimes we have these depressing podcasts where we talk about a weird current thing, and then I just die at the end of it. So I'm pretty, pretty dead.
Let's try and lift you up because you're dead.
Not possible.
What can be done? What is there to be done? Hex needs some kind of medical intervention.
I mean, I don't think there's anything to be done other than to ban him from events and encourage him to seek some sort of
medical
therapeutic help.
I think that this is a good opportunity. Again, go to your don'tcallthepolice.com, find the local mental health resources for your area. This thing that Hacks is going through is like an obsessive conspiratorial psychotic breakdown. He is suffering. And if you can recognize behavior like this in yourself or somebody else, it must have been going on for years and years, 5 years. He's been working on the box since being obsessive about Leffen. If you can recognize these sorts of behaviors, that's steps that you can take to try and make sure that, I don't know, the community is safer, that we don't have interesting things to tell people about, that Jen doesn't read about this on Twitter. That would be good. Jen said she was going to listen to this episode.
The barometer of our community's well-being is whether or not Professor Alex's girlfriend knows about what's going on. Sorry, fiance now.
Fiance, yeah. I mean, she knows about
that's the measurement.
Mike Z.
That's the measurement. Big Z? I don't even know what that is.
Mike Z.
Oh, Mike Z. Okay.
She's familiar with that whole crisis.
Who the fuck is Big Z?
You don't know about Big Z? We'll have Jen on. She'll tell you about it.
She'll tell me all about it. She knows. Yeah. That's the measurement.
So it is depressing that this has happened, but I think that this is sadly a sort of crisis that people can look at and examine and see if they themselves or people that they know are exhibiting the same kind of behavior. I do think that we should be able to make the community stronger, safer for it, because now we can all plainly see that sometimes people form sort of an unhealthy relationship, and maybe that speaks to like the sort of parasocial relationship of Twitch streamers
I'm glad you brought that up, actually, though, because I think if you're talking about this is where God damn it. Again, I don't want to feed into the like people who are like, Leffen really is this thing, but I do think there is a non-zero element of it that has to do with the way Leffen was. Yeah. And he certainly isn't like to blame, and like you can't be like, you did a thing, therefore Hacks is having this breakdown now. Like he clearly had some pre-existing issues.
There must have been something there. Yeah.
But also, I mean, bullying is a real thing and does cause people to have actual mental health issues, or at the very least, it can exacerbate existing problems, which is probably the case. And I do think that there's an element of that like, it probably makes it really easy if you're having, if you're in a position like Hacks probably already was, and then you go through like bullying or whatever, it makes it really easy to like kind of feed into the feedback loop of like bad mental health shit where you're already in like a bad place. Somebody's shitting on you. You see kind of like you said, like the parasocial interaction or even the actual social interaction. Actually, really all of the above. And like you see that you already have these like paranoid, delusional, whatever issues, tendencies, whatever you want to call it. And then like it doubles down on the fact that you're being actually like I guess bullying is a form of abuse, so we'll say abused by a person. And that just like makes it worse. I mean, I don't know. I've never been in like that bad of a situation, but like this reminds me of like I remember like recognizing if I can be really narcissistic and just relate this to my own experiences in shitty ways that are only tangentially relatable. I remember experiencing like I don't want to say like epiphany, but I remember recognizing some bad behavior in myself when I was at like one of the lowest points of shit with everything with my ex and this like awful breakup that I went through. I remember like being on Facebook and just like looking at all of her like family members' Facebook pages and her Facebook page and like knowing that it would only piss me off whatever I saw, whatever was going on, knowing like what was going on with all of that, and then like still doing it and being like, this will only make me suffer.
Make me upset.
Also, I need to do
like
it.
To be upset.
And so and I just remember being like, okay, I have to unfriend all of them. Like this is not healthy. Like I literally have to unfriend them for my own mental health. And what's fucked up about that, and this is kind of where what's fucked up about that is like having that thought actually caused me like more weird reverberations of the same kind of thing in like a smaller way. Because then I was like, oh, am I like now I'm like a piece of shit because I'm like unfriending them and I'm being like dramatic and that's bad. But you just got to be like, nah. And it's just like what you were saying about like blocking people or whatever. You can't like at the end of the day, you have to just do it. And it's weird because there's that second thing in the back of your mind that's like, you're almost shitting on yourself for even doing that. And that's like in and of itself a form of pressure. And so I guess my point is like, I mean, to a much smaller degree, I do kind of understand how like having a weird situation with something like this, being like experiencing abuse from a party can cause like weird obsessive behavior that you need to like recognize, but then it's also like difficult to because of the aforementioned abuse that you experienced, having fucked your psyche up to begin with. So
to put you in that sort of a
position. It is a very difficult
like,
position. And like, I don't think you can at the end of the day be like, Leffen is responsible for Hax's mental state. But I do think there is a non-zero amount of Leffen's past behavior. And I think and that's what is so like appealing if you're in Hax's position, because again, you're looking at something where it's like, there's like multiple parts. One of the parts of it is like Hax clearly being in a bad spot, clearly having experienced like this set abuse from Leffen at some point or whatever. And like a lot of people have, and then trying to parse with like, oh man, Leffen's just, how's he getting away with this? Right? Meaning like Leffen has like kind of more or less reformed himself. He's not a perfect person, but he's so much better than he used to be. And then now he's like an advocate for mental health or whatever for like things with all the other smash drama that occurred.
The Me Too movement.
And then that just sort of like double and tripling down on Hax's existing paranoia. It's a nasty concoction. It's a nasty concoction. And like, you can't really like be, I mean, mad at someone if they've got existing shit and this whole like swirl of things. Like you just have to try and get him help, and you have to try and be like, look, man, like this is beyond rational, and hope that he has somebody to talk to. Block Leffen. I don't know. Like,
I would like to make clear, Hax is not the villain of this piece. Leffen isn't the villain of this piece. This is there is no villain. A bad thing has happened to Hax, and now the situation is worse.
That's why it's so hard, though. Yeah, because like you have to look at like a situation where like maybe 6 years ago, well, definitively 6 years ago, Leffen was a villain. But like that doesn't mean that all of all of this is his
You can't
fault.
look at this in a snapshot. Yeah.
But that's why it's so difficult to kind of like go over, because it's just one of those, like, it's very cliche, but like, hey man, it's a complicated situation. Like,
it
you know,
is.
like there's a lot of things going on. There is, because I think people always want like a definitive answer. They want like a fucking binary response to be like, this,
you want the good guy.
This is what happened.
You want the bad guy, and yep. The clean cut interpretation of facts that is always sorted very evenly left and right.
Yeah, and then there's the fucking this is a fallacy. I do remember that. Then there's the fallacy of the middle too, where people are just like, oh, I'm sure there's some truth to both sides.
Truth must be
and
somewhere
like,
between Hacks and Leffen.
Like,
not in this case.
Yeah.
I do not believe that Leffen is Hitler reincarnate.
Or if we're following the fallacy of the middle, he's like half Hitler. You know, look, man,
it's half of him is Hitler.
Surely that's the.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, it's not that hopeless. If you recognize this sort of behavior in you or someone else, reach out for help. There are people, there are resources. We together make Smash safer and less scary and interesting and spicy.
And we're all going to have fun at the water park in September. Yay!
Hell
water
yeah.
Park Smash tournaments. Happy notes to end podcasts on.
Hell yeah.
We're all going to be pasty and pale, or at least I am.
Are you doing Ganon and Joker in doubles?
He's been playing Aegis, Pyramithra.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's the plan. We have only practiced it like once, and it was versus fucking T-Mac and Raichu playing King K. Rool Piranha Plant. So what I'm saying is we learned nothing and benefited not at all. You can't get any data from playing doubles versus K. Rool Piranha Plant. There is no logical data to be determined, win or lose, from that. So
no one wins.
So I don't know what our quote unquote, strategy is. We need to play some more basically with it, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. P-holes.
We did it. P-holes. That's been about a podcast.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I gotta stop thinking about this depressing things and go on.
I gotta
go jerk off to Black Snake Moan and play World of Warcraft. So I have been MetalMusicMan.
I've been Professor Lex.
And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.